From the Bloodline Rules match, to promos in Universe Mode, to the Island, WWE 2K25 is officially here, and this is your full impressions of the game, kind of your initial look at the game, the first 30 days. My name is Matt, welcome to Assemble. Let's talk gameplay. If you play 2K24, you're not going to see anything surprising with 2K25 in terms of its gameplay. Largely the same, with a lot of quality of life improvements added in. Chain wrestling makes its comeback. The LED barricades are now there where you can interact and smash an opponent into them, and they get a lot more damage. And speaking of damage, blood, bruising, cuts, welts, all of that damage to Superstar when you're going through a gritty Hell in a Cell match is all there, and it looks excellent. New additional mechanics and features like having a new ladder match minigame that we've desperately needed for years because it's been trash for so long. Changes the experience of a ladder match now. Being able to go up against giants and having to break them down and wear them down in a different way adds to the dynamic flow of a match. And for presentation anyways, like 2K24, if you put them side by side, you're really not going to see a whole lot of difference from a presentation standpoint. But the lighting is good, the models look good. Audio always seems to be an issue, at least for me when I play these video games. I never feel like the crowd really comes alive when Superstar makes their entrance. John Cena is a heel now and he comes out. The boos are not raining down on him like I want them to. The crowd doesn't pop huge when Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out. I wish that it had more weight to it and that the audio was changed up and it was more dynamic. Commentary, also, it's outdated. You have a 3-man commentary team that doesn't exist on WWE TV. For someone like me, I like the games to represent and reflect what's happening on WWE TV's current product as best you can. WWE changes so quickly and so often. Of course, it can't be the most up-to-date thing every single moment, but you have Byron Saxton on commentary. Like, that doesn't make any sense. But one great addition that they have added this year is the free roam camera. Being able to spectate, zoom in, zoom out during entrances, it adds so much to the presentation of the game. I don't skip entrances very much anymore. I like being able to change the dynamics of it, kind of tells its own story. Being able to be Kevin Dunn in the truck and just go bananas with just flicking the camera 18 ways. But not everything is perfect with gameplay. There's glitches, chain wrestling is hit and miss. The boos mini game is just constantly happening sometimes. But this is early on too, so over the course of the next several months, we'll see more patches and updates, and hopefully those things get fixed. Hit detection is still an issue. There's still things that plague these games, but they're getting more and more updates even this early on as the game has just come out, and those are all positive signs. But let's talk about match types. 2K is touting this as a groundbreaking year in the franchise, and match types are kind of a core element to any wrestling games, playing the matches itself. So for this year, they've added intergender matches, Bloodline Rules match, Underground, updated backstage arenas for backstage brawls, and even special guest referee has been updated and expanded. And out of all of these added match types, the Bloodline Rules match is my personal favorite. The chaos of being able to have multiple people coming in throughout the match to interfere, it adds that element of chaos that I really like. It's unpredictable, and you don't know who's going to come out next. Sometimes it's wonky and it doesn't make any sense that Bubba Ray Dudley is there, but he's there. Or it's a really cool Roman Reigns Rock match and all members of the Bloodline are coming out. The AI is smarter with all of these matches too. They're not interfering constantly and getting in the way. It feels more balanced. Not perfect, but it's more balanced. The Underground match, it's fun, but it's not something that speaks to me very much after a couple of times of playing it. I'm glad it's there. I hope people enjoy it. Not really for me. I think it's kind of fun that you got all these NPCs standing around the ring and they're kind of cheering you on. There's no ropes, so there's different dynamic element in there of being able to throw them to the outside. But beyond that, just a regular match, especially because even disqualification is turned on for some reason by default. You could turn that off and make it a no DQ, but it should be just anything goes all over the arena. The updated backstage arenas, they're a lot of fun. New weapons, things to interact with and hurt your opponent with, throw a pylon on Dom Mysterio. And intergender matches are a big component this year. Being able to go through regular play or even universe mode to have intergender wrestling take place, fighting over different title belts for intergender matches. You can have Dom versus Rhea Ripley. You can have it any way you want. There's more freedom that way. And if you're somebody that has been wanting that and wanting women to be able to have blood in the matches and all that, you got all that this year. Intergender matches are not something that, for me as a player, that I've been craving for. Some people love it. I think that's great, but it's not something that I was clamoring for as a player that I wanted to see in this year's game. I was hoping for other match types that would be added in, like a Buried Alive match, 3 Stages of Hell, redoing things like steel cage matches and Hell in a Cell matches, refining them to make them better and more interactive. But that comes down to personal taste. The match types are not bad by any means. Special guest referee, like I mentioned, got a slew of updates. Being able to finally do HBK, Triple H, Undertaker, and Hell in a Cell. It's awesome. Tag team special ref matches, 3-way, 4-way, like that expansion gives me a lot of hope that when we look at next year and years beyond, that they continue to expand on all of these match types. But stuff that they do need to expand on that they haven't this year, Creation Suite. I feel like it's still limited. To me as a player, and I'm not somebody that creates in Creation Suite. I'm the guy who downloads. I'm not the uploader. I couldn't put like a shirt on my character. I'm that useless. But it's the same amount of slots to download locked at 100. Creating championships and creating arenas hasn't been updated. Looks all the same. Creating arenas specifically, that's even something I would dabble in as the big dummy that I am, that I can barely do anything. I'd still like to create arenas. There's no new elements. Everything is the same. And the creation community is massive, and they want everything from body morphing to unlock every hairstyle, beard, facial texture, everything possible to make the creations what they should be and what they can be. And they're still limited. It's hard for me to speak more closely on Creation Suite because I'm not somebody that goes in and creates these crazy detailed costs for the community, but I can say that it's not where it should be. It's feeling like it's left behind, and it still feels like it's left in the past, and it needs a lot more love and care. One positive they did was they took all the WWE superstars hairstyles and they put them into the Creation Suite. But then you would hear that over time, certain things from like last year's game, years prior, like they remove hairstyles, they remove different elements. Why not just keep them all in there? Keep all the assets in there and build it like a giant library. Same with arenas. I love playing retro arenas from Raw and SmackDown and different pay-per-views and all the WrestleManias. And there's a lot in there that are available through unlocking in My Rise and the showcase that we'll talk about. But you have all these assets and you have all these arenas from years past. Why not just continue to build upon that library of all the different WrestleMania arenas, of Monday Night Raw from 1999 and retro SummerSlams? It's not the same one that we get every single year. Those things I think are missed. What about the modes? Because in every 2K game for WWE, you're gonna get a slew of options from regular play to universe mode to My GM, My Rise. All these things make a comeback this year, including the newly added island mode that we'll talk about. Let's first look at showcase mode. I beat the showcase in the first day or two of having the game, and I thought it was fine. I was looking forward to a Bloodline showcase and what they would do differently with it this year. You have Bloodline Dynasty matches that have occurred in WWE, from Hulk Hogan, Yokozuna, Roman versus Seth, and more. They added dream matches, which I thought that could be really cool how you're going to play these out. And also the removal of slingshot tech, something that players advocated they didn't want in the game anymore, where it would cut to the real life footage, WWE footage of that match. People didn't want that. They wanted it to stay in the game, and they did that. And that is awesome because it kept me engaged, and I enjoyed the cutscenes playing out that way in those moments because it stayed within the video game. So I felt more immersed that way. But you do get those dream matches, the made up ones. Yeah, they're not very good. I did a full showcase impressions and review. You guys can check that out on the channel. But dream matches are all happening at the day one pay-per-view. They don't get different arenas. And in large part, you're just trying to complete the match. You're not trying to enjoy anything different. No unique cutscenes. They're just there. I feel like you could have taken those out and given us more real matches that happened, like Rock versus Hogan at WrestleMania 18, Stone Cold versus The Rock at WrestleMania 19. Unlockables are largely the same. Unlock arenas, championships, alt attires, and a lot of the alt attires are really cool. Thought it told a good story, but the big thing about Showcase was the introductory cinematic cutscene that they did, reflecting on WrestleMania 40, replaying that and being able to take the controller and interact, play out those moments of The Rock, Undertaker, Roman Reigns. It's an awesome introduction. It's probably one of the best ones I've seen them do in Showcase for a long time, but it kind of feels like all the effort went into that, and then the rest of the Showcase was it was okay. I love that opening sequence. I played it twice. Different choices, different options, but then the rest of the Showcase did feel largely the same old, same old. And two negatives for the Showcase: the War Games match is annoying. Beat everybody down in the War Games, get them all bloody and down to red. The AI is gonna screw you over and win the match over and over again. The Money in the Bank, the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, where you play as Tamina, who no longer works for WWE. You play as Tamina for this ladder match, and it is brutally annoying. Not in a hard thing that you have to overcome in a video game way. It is annoying that I have to keep replaying this to try and beat this match. Those two really brought down Showcase, where I was like, I don't want to play this anymore. I just want to get this over with. And the final match, though, you get a gauntlet match, and you can be able to go through, kind of like they've done in the past with Royal Rumble. You play as somebody you want to pick from the Bloodline Dynasty. You get a really cool Bloodline arena. That was a cool way to end it, but it didn't give you any feeling of over satisfaction There was no ending cutscene or moment that they really grabbed you and made you feel like this was all worth it, like they did with the opener. So I feel like it was very average. Now, what about My Rise? How was that? I'm currently still playing My Rise, as this is still an early impressions review. And I'm not somebody that usually plays My Rise. I don't have a ton of fun creating my character and going through the motions of this stuff for these storylines. But you know what? This year I gave it a chance and I'm really enjoying it. I have played My Rise in the past. I played it in 2K24, I played it in 23 a little bit, but I was never really hooked. I'm actually enjoying the storyline that they're telling in this year's My Rise. I think it's fun. I like the unlockables. I like that I'm getting all these different titles. I think they've done it in a very good way and a very good balance. But the things I feel are holding My Rise back are the outdated tropes they use within the mode itself. The social media aspect of finishing up a story beat and then you're standing there waiting and these DMs and you're trying to click them and you can't delete them and you can't get them out of your face. They don't matter unless it's going to be relating to like a live event where you're going to do a match to get some unlockables. I'm so tired of this social media thing. It just feels slow and outdated. Standing in a singular position and rotating your character to talk to Simon, to talk to Adam Pearce, to talk to CM Punk, and go through just these little conversations back and forth to then get to a match. Again, feels very outdated and been there, done that. The cutscenes, the story they tell in the ring, and the bigger moments, those have been great. And I've really enjoyed what they're doing with the story, and not to give you any spoilers, but I'm having fun with it. And what's funny is when we talk about the island in a minute, I wish that they would just take the free roam open element that is there in the island and apply it to My Rise. The island lets you run around with your create a superstar. What if you just did that in My Rise? The teams that made My Rise also built the island mode. I don't know why they wouldn't do that, where you have a free roam backstage element now in My Rise where I can do these conversations, but I'm just not stuck in one singular position. Let me go backstage and run to Triple H's office and talk to him, even if he has nothing new to say. Let me go to Adam Pearce's office. Let me run into a wrestler and then just challenge them to a match because I bothered them. Those things are holding that mode back, but there are a lot of pluses in there this year. Now, two modes that made a return that I play every single year, My GM and Universe mode. I have full dedicated impressions videos of Universe and My GM up on the channel if you want to check them out. But the short of My GM is that it's back, it's largely the same, AI is harder, budgets are increased, roster sizes for your brands are increased. There are new elements in there, but it does feel largely the same. I feel like My GM is kind of confining the player in terms of what they're allowed to do. One of the things they're doing this year is cross-brand PLEs. You're gonna go to a PLE, and then you're going to have matches, the opener and the main event, going up against the opposing brand. I don't always want to do that. I want to do what WWE does on TV and just have 5 matches, 8 matches on the card and play through those. Because there's nothing really done that's really heightened the experience of My GM, it feels very much the same as 2K24. More polish, more refinement. They added the online component, which was going to be a huge deal for players to be able to play online with their buddies. But you can't play matches against each other. You can't spectate the matches online. You can only just simulate that there's a match happening and move on to the next one. Kind of defeats the whole purpose of doing that. I like playing My GM, but it's missing stuff for me still. 6-man matches, Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank, those things are not there. And I feel like, again, it's narrowing its abilities for the player to do very specific things instead of a little bit more freedom of, let me just run my show however I want it without crazy consequences of injuries every 5 minutes on my show. Now, what about Universe mode? A lot has changed and a lot has stayed the same. There's a lot that I really do like about Universe mode this year in comparison to last year. Last year was rivalry actions. That seemed to be it. Double title matches were added. That was it for last year. This year, there is more attention, more fixes, more balance, more reasons for me to go back and want to play Universe mode and set it up the way I want. At first glance, things look very much the same as previous years, but the AI is more balanced. Freedom within the calendar is a big deal. You can have up to 3 shows on a single day. Major shows, minor shows, PLEs, all on a Monday night. 2-night PLEs, WrestleMania is 2 nights, and you can move them around wherever you want on your calendar. King of the Ring is added in there, and you can move it around and do it whenever you want throughout the year. Those are all awesome. Those are great additions that we have needed for a long time. Promos have come back. It's one of the big things they wanted to tout this year, making a comeback. Fans wanted it, they got it. But it's just kind of, it feels like it's the starting point of promos, which is unfortunate. You have 5 different promo options to select from. There's no text box and there's no commentary lines written and spoken of in the mode. Cody Rhodes doesn't talk. The commentating team does the talking to explain the scenario. And that's good. It gives it more freedom. And hey, if you're somebody that likes to kind of create kind of an open idea of a promo and all of that in the match and the feud, you're not confined to having a generic text box pop up and tell you, I'm challenging you for a world title match, generic text ends, and it's the same message every single time. But it needs more. There's no factions in promos, there's no tag teams that come out in promos. So once you've gone through all 5 of them, there's not much consequence there, and they just kind of feel rinse and repeat. And they're not done in match slots, they're done within rivalry actions, which is good and bad because it's not taking up a match slot. However, because it's a rivalry action, you can't do promos at PLEs. And this also hurts the whole promo system itself. Look at WWE today, so much of it is promos, and this is all within the ring with 2 superstars. I think they could have done a little bit more with promos by adding in even a backstage element. Have Kathy Kelly interview CM Punk backstage with the microphone. Do the exact same concept where the commentating team are talking over it. If they can't give you dialogue lines and text, at least give us different environments. Why not? You have all the assets. TV screen from My Rise, backstage with Kathy Kelly in the arena, do a promo for 10 seconds, and that's it. Environment changes for promos itself would go a long way. And to not have it at PLEs doesn't make much sense to me. A lot to like within the nitty-gritty of universe mode. Even superstar mode got a little bit of refinement to make it a little bit easier or more accessible. But Money in the Bank cash-ins, for example, don't work at PLEs. Still things that you're just kind of like, yeah, you're almost there, but we're not quite there yet with universe. Now, my faction made a return for the 4th game in a row. The positive I'll say about my faction this year is World Tour. I think it's actually a good way to go after rewards, persona models, those things when you're trying to play this mode. Largely the same across the board. Nothing really has changed within my faction. But World Tour is a nice way to go about getting personas, going territory to territory and being able to complete these series of matches, being able to see very clearly what the reward is, what the persona model will be when you get there, what star ratings you need to achieve. It's very, very clear cut what you will need to do. My faction is not going anywhere as we are 4 games deep, and I want to see what they do with these my faction and these persona models specifically. Will they have the updated Trons or the entrance themes that they need for those models? Or is it going to be like last year where it's kind of half-baked? And then the island, ladies and gentlemen, it's here. Go online, create a superstar, run around an island. Roman Reigns wants to skill you up. Go have matches that are going to be against the AI, or you can have 1v1 matches against real players online. I have spent time in the early preview for the game playing the island. I've sat at home and played the island. It's not for me. And not even just from the microtransaction perspective. That is one thing, and I'll talk about that in a second. But the core thing, all of it, I don't see the fun. Create your character, up their attributes, run around an island, 4 different zones to be able to run around that you can just easily run around in one shot. And you just essentially just go around and you get text messages that will pop up from Roman Reigns or whoever. Go to this location, talk to so-and-so. Now go to this other location and talk to another wrestler, set up a one-on-one match, set up a tag team match. Complete the match, get a little bit of virtual currency, get a little bit of XP, and do it again. The idea? Grind, increase your character's skills, attributes, save up your VC to be able to buy cosmetics from one of the multiple shops located around the island. The idea of having the online aspect of being able to go in and play against your friends or run around with them and next to each other and go and have a series of matches is cool. But that's not what this is. Go and challenge in a lobby for 1v1 matches against somebody. Okay, great. Well, then what? And I'm not somebody that needs to complete these things to get more currency, digital currency, to get an NWO t-shirt from the shop or a Jey Uso shirt from the shop that I have to use VC for. That doesn't entice me. I don't know what I want from this mode, if that makes sense, but I don't see it going anywhere. I think that this is the first step into this element of gameplay. And I feel like the island is just the one template they will use for this year. And the next year, they'll probably change the location. We won't have the island. We might have the city. We might have the arena. We might have just a different location based off the theme of the game for that year, based around that superstar, where they can just pull the elements out, change the buildings, change the colors, what they look like, but it's still at its core the same thing. They need to do way more with this. Tag team matches, triple threats, fatal four ways, all the different match types, be able to have against your buddies online, be able to compete, run around together as a team, as a faction of 5 people, and just goofing off and having fun and being able to go and challenge Johnny Gargano and Ciampa to a tag team match, win titles and put your titles on the line and go run around and challenge other people or be challenged by them. There's so much they could do, but that's what this is. And then the virtual currency aspect of it, you gain so little from the matches, at least from what I have played. You get crumbs of VC, and then you go to a shop for Nike shoes and you see that it costs 8,000 in virtual currency. And I open up my little wallet and I realize I am nowhere even just in the same vicinity of this whole thing to even ever afford the shoes. And that's okay, but there is such a gap between what you earn and what things cost. And there are plans, according to 2K, to be able to update this throughout the year, to add more elements, to add more free things. But as I go around and complete these matches on my own, and the arenas are cool, I like the aesthetics of where you're playing in this, but once you've done it, and you've gone around to each of them, you've done it all. Having one-on-one matches or fatal four-way matches against the computer, and I come out of it and I unlocked banners, what does that matter? What is that good to me? Now, one positive is that anything you do get in the island, from let's say the unlocked Jey Uso shirts you got with your VC, you take those and you can play them offline. You can apply them to Jey Uso in the game. You can't upload to community creations, but it's all on your account. And likewise, VC you earn from my faction is totally usable in the island and vice versa. So there are some positives and benefits from this, but it just feels so limited. And for me as a wrestling fan, it's just not a mode that I'm gonna click on. Not unless I see something really interesting that's gonna hook me. But in the few hours I have played with it already, I feel like I've done it all, I've seen it all it has to offer, and it's not what I want. But there's a lot of good with 2K25 this year. And this is just early impressions, first couple of weeks with the game. There will be patches, updates, DLC, and there's a lot to like. Core gameplay feels great. Matches feel fun, exciting. They vary in challenge and level. Universe is more fun for me this year. My Rise has a fun and engaging story with good unlockables. So we'll revisit it in a month or two and see where we're at. But do the most important thing. Comment below and tell me what you like, but also what you don't like about the game so far. If you're on the fence about getting it, hopefully this video helped show you goods, but also stuff that's not so great this year either. Try to keep it balanced both ways. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel and check out this video talking about Universe Mode, all the details. Have a great day. See ya.